Hello teacher, we are the first group of the explanation of the blog and I'm going to start by explaining the name of our blog, which is Adventuring into the Unknown of Teaching. Well, first of all, the blog shares a lot of meaningful information, not only objective but also from the different experiences and points of view of our rookie group. So when we had to think about a title, we wanted something that spoke for itself and expressed all the contents that the blog deals with and the process that took us to finish it. So that's how we came up with this title, Adventuring into the Unknown of Teaching. And since we are beginners, we could dive into a whole new world. We really had fun writing and reading and constructing this blog. So we really believe that this will help a lot of people, not only beginners but also professional teachers, because this information can come in handy and they can use it with their students in their classroom anytime. And we also were not gonna lie because we really felt inspired by the song of Frozen 2, Into the Unknown. We could really relate because we think that it was a new experience and the whole idea of teaching was really scaring, but we really had fun discovering a lot of different things and had the opportunity to teach through a lot of means of communications. So now I'm going to do a quick tour of the blog and explain how we divided the parts of the blog. So here we are in our homepage. You can see over here the title and here the introduction, which explains everything that the blog contains. All the information we have divided into some subcategories. The first one is YEL, where you can find some information about our group of students. The next one is class management and atmosphere, which contains each entry of each member of the group, when things go wrong, and the tools of the trade with the infographic. Then we have lessons. You can find from lesson 1 to lesson 10. You can click on the one you want and you can see the lesson plan and the video. You click on the icon and it will appear the video so you can watch it. And in this icon, it will redirect you to a website, the one that we used with our students, and so on with the other lessons. At the end of the page, you find this icon, which is worksheets, and it will appear all the homeworks that we assigned to our students so you can watch them and even download them. In the next subcategory, we find macro language skills with information about the 4 macro language skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing skills. In the next one is special education with general and specific information, for example, Down syndrome, autism, deafblind, etc. Then in more, we have two subcategories: English language teaching, which contains 3 parts. The first one is top 10 traits of 21st century ELT, nests versus non-nests, and ubiquitous teaching and learning. The next subcategory and the last one about teachers. Here you find all the teaching philosophies of each member. You can read them all here, or you can click on any specific one. For example, teacher Abigail. And here you see the picture and the teaching philosophy. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this information. And now my partner will continue explaining all the content of the blog.
Hello everyone, now I'm going to talk about the process behind our lesson plans. Well, for the creation of the lesson plans, in our case, we divided by stages. With each of them, we always made a meeting to have a more direct communication and more effective feedback. The first thing we did was to create an idea of how to do the lessons because it was something we had never done before. But after the teacher gave us an example of how to do that and she explained the process, it was much easier for us to start working on them. Afterwards, we decided how each lesson will be done and who will be involved in it. So we decided that 2 people were going to participate on each lesson. In that way, not only one person will be saturated with work, as well as we have other things to do as well. But also, in the end, we could all work together and make the experience more enjoyable. Once everyone knew who they were going to work with and in which lessons, we began to create the lesson plans. We contact each other through WhatsApp or we made meetings on Google Meet. One of the first things we did as a pair was divided the part of the lesson to know who was going to do the greeting or who was going to do the practice, etc. Then the activities were created and we planned out what resources we were going to use and in what way we were going to record, etc. When we had the first 5 lessons, we had a meeting and reviewed them all together to see if we could change anything, add or remove certain things. Although not all of us were going to be on that lesson, but listening to different point of view was always a good thing. So in the end, our world will be good. And after this, after the lessons were delivered, then we waited for the revised version. If there was something to fix, we fix it, and then we record the lessons. And we did the same with the other 5 lessons as well.
Hello, teacher. Now I am going to talk about macro language skills, and I'm going to start with a simple question. It says, what are some challenges when teaching the listening, speaking, reading, and writing skills? As everyone knows, learning foreign language could be something very hard, since the students have to learn and develop new skills. For example, listening can be challenging if children cannot clearly understand the speakers. Therefore, what we have to do, simple, is to create interesting activities. For example, the topic is animals. The students are going to listen the animal sounds. Then they are going to tell us what is the animals. It is very important that students understand the topic because they are going to tell us what is the animal. Also, in this part, we can see that students use the speaking skills. When teaching speaking skills, maybe we can have problem because this part is very exigent. For example, if you have problem with the pronunciation of you don't know a new word, it is a problem. For that, it is necessary that setting easy activities or work for the students. For example, simple sentences like my name is Peter or I like to eat pizza. And we have reading skills. And reading skill is difficult too, but as students improve for the foreign language, we know that the students have problem with they don't know a new word or they have problem with the grammar. And the last one is writing skills. We know there is a longer process. The students have problem with the sounds or the vowels or maybe the consonants, or they cannot organize the ideas. We need to give an easy homework. For that, they can write an excellent way.
So hello everybody, and today I'm going to be explaining the differences between a 21st century teacher and a traditional teacher. And for this, we're gonna be reading. We're gonna be having 3 quotes. And the first one, it says that one of the differences between a 21st century teacher and a traditional teacher is that 21st century teachers try to involve their learners whenever it's possible in lesson. Traditional teachers are accustomed to dictate and give quick explanation just one time about the class. What we meant with this is that traditional teacher never listen to any another opinion about the topic or the lesson they are teaching. A 21st century teacher tries to take into account everything from their students. And that's what we made in our lessons. We try to take into account the opinions of the students and try to make it easier for them to listen to them, to make it feel comfortable. The second thing that is important to mention about the differences between these two types of teachers is that the attitudes they have changed. What we mean with this is the inclusivity they have taken with the strengths their pupils have, the kindness and respect they show with the incomprehension that some students have, and finally, but not less important, the relevance they include in lessons. The usage of technology and social media to learn correctly in an easiest way. And that this is something important because we take it into account too much. We were teaching our students by social media, by using technology and all that stuff. And we were giving them also the opportunity to make their homework assignments by using them. And also they had the option to make it by hand, and that was something good because most of them made it, but most of them not. They preferred the technological part. And the last thing about these two types of teachers is that traditional ones are related with some knowledge they reveal almost every year, and a traditional a 21st century teacher is updating and acquiring new updates about the lessons they need to teach. This is basically what we made. We tried to update our lessons in almost everything we could to make our students understand easier our topics. I think that's all from me.
Hi, I am going to continue with a common teaching philosophy, and these are some of my teens' ideas and thoughts about teaching. Teaching is said to be a lifelong process of learning new ideas, new strategies, and new philosophies. These philosophies might change over time, and that's okay, because that means that we have learned more and we have grown. And as teachers and learners, we have to take this job very seriously and with care, because a teacher gets a seat on the front row to watch and mold the development of next generation and new generations. And after reading all of my teammates' philosophies, I came with the conclusion that we have very similar ones. And maybe that's the reason why we work together very well. And I have divided our common teaching philosophy into different points, and I'm going to mention some of them. And first we have that we see ourselves as guides and coaches. We are not the protagonists in teaching. The protagonists are the students. Then we see ourselves also as positive role models for our students. They are influence for people all of their lives, right? So we will try to be positive role models. Then we have that as millennial teachers, we will take advantage of the new technologies available to fulfill our job at full capacity. And we will try to take up all of the outdated content in the syllabus, and we will bring content that it's relevant and useful for our students' future. Also, we will try to understand the difference and the needs that all of our students have to create an environment when they can learn in an adequate and in a stimulated way. Also, we will try to help them set up their dreams and goals, because we don't think that happens nowadays. It is also impossible for us to mention a specific method to teach English, because that depends on many factors. For example, the situation we're in, the environment, the number or the qualities of our students. So we cannot mention any specific method, but we can keep learning, right? it is also important for us to teach our students to be autodidacts, because that will help us to accomplish our next point, that is to help the students to become lifelong learners. That is what we are, lifelong learners, and they will see that we have keep learning, and we will keep learning, and we will learn from them too. And lastly but not least, we have that we are and we will have to be inclusive, but truly inclusive, no matter the economical situation that our students have, their disabilities, their limitations. We have to be empathic with them. We have to be tolerant, patient, and we have to be inclusive. Just that.
Well, we can say that every part of the lessons that we studied in class were essential for us to get what we needed for the entries that you will find in our blog. Let's think about some examples. In our blog, you can find some acronyms, but how do you know the meaning of each of them? It is simple, because at the beginning of the semester, we studied them. We had time to study them, and then we were asked to give their meaning in class. If you remember, we studied the ELT, EFL, SL, L1, and L2. Another example of the relation between classes and the entries that you will find in our blog is what we did after we studied the teaching terms. We're talking about the presentations and mini presentations that were based on the book that is called Teaching English to Children. Well, some of them were based on that, and some others were based on other resources that the teacher provided. All this was really important because presenting in a general way some of the topics that were based on the book that I already mentioned and some other material provided general ideas that were part of the blog, of the entries of the blog. As part of the class, the presentations and the mini presentations were really useful for us to have deeper ideas, clear concepts, and conclusions that were at the end were posted in our blog. And not only the presentations and mini presentations, but also forums on Facebook, forums and in other platforms, and also discussions. And if you remember, we started talking about class management and atmosphere, passing through the 4 language skills, and we got some important terms, concepts, and also strategies. And we can say that if we gather all that, the result was the English classes online that you can find in our blog. So, as a team, we can say that without those important aspects and many others, without all of them, it would have been really hard to accomplish the task of creating this collaborative case study blog.